Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are in with Luann Barry. This is Sip and Chat with SpiceLAB. Night number 12. I cannot believe we are on night number 12 already. We are now in the final countdown of this amazing, amazing virtual summit. Hey, Nicole. And and this has been an amazing, amazing journey. I cannot begin to tell you how fabulous it has been, what a journey it has been, what an eye-opening experience it has been. I mean, all the things. It has been all of the things. And I hope you feel the same from the feedback that I'm getting. This has definitely been very moving, very helpful for you all. And that was the purpose of doing this summit. You know, I can't believe we're already in week number 2. At the end of week number 2, we've got 1 week left of this virtual summit. And I'm telling you, we are ending it with a bang. Okay. All our guests have been amazing, but I'm just telling you, like, the topics. And, you know, it's just like, how could it get any better? And it's just like one on top of the other on top of the other. And so tonight, you know, it's the end of the week. It's more chill, you know, typically it would be. And it's just a different vibe we need this evening. And so our guest expert is one of the most beautiful people I've ever met. And she's joining us right now. Woo, is this damn Instagram. And so our guest tonight is, listen, she's fashionable, she's beauty, but she's an entrepreneur. And I just think that what makes this summit so awesome is the different angles, the different entrepreneurial experiences, the different industries that we are tapping into. And tonight we are tapping into somebody that is all about fashion and beauty. And I'm telling you, she is phenomenal. She is amazing. And she's coming to us with professional development tonight. And without further ado, I introduce you all to the lovely Jennifer Michelle. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. How are you?
Good.
It's Friday night. We're here.
We are here. I'm just taking it like, you know, we were just all meeting up after work and having some drinks and conversation. We about to go listen to some live music.
That's what we're about to do. So funny you mentioned music, because I literally was thinking, how can I play Johnny Kemp Just Got Paid and remix it to Johnny Gill, Put On Your Red Dress, because I got on my red lip and we got our shoulders out. It's Friday night. We ready to
You got your shoulders? I got my shoulders.
Yes, we got shoulders.
And we
work your shoulders.
And we didn't plan this. We didn't plan this at all.
Did not plan it at all.
So, there's Nicole from last night. She's sending us lots
Hey,
of love.
Nicole was wonderful. Everybody, before we even get started, everybody has been phenomenal. Like nuggets for days, inspiration, encouragement. I was like, ooh, every night the bar is lifted. Help me, Lord. And then I was like, ooh, it's Friday night. We got to start the weekend right. So, ooh, yes.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
So,
hey, everybody, listen.
Our drinks, courtesy.
I don't know what's in this, but let me tell you, send me the recipe and I'll get the link so I can order my bottle. Because, ma'am, Red Rose
vodka. So to those that don't know and that are just tuning in, you are sitting with us for Sip and Chat with SpiceLAB. I am your host, Luann Barry, CEO of SpiceLAB Media, project manager, business strategist, and your partner when it comes to building out your vision. And we are sitting with the beautiful guest expert tonight, Jennifer Michelle, who is bringing us her 5 tips from a professional development standpoint. And tonight, we are drinking the drink that was crafted just for this evening from Red Rose Vodka, and it's called Cherry Juice. So,
okay, cherry juice.
I'll sip to that. It's got cherry. Oh, it's got the smack.
Listen, it smacks you. So I didn't want to. So see what you're doing. So I always prepare, and I'm always ready ahead of time. So I had a few extra minutes. I was like, let me go ahead and taste this so I'll know what it tastes like on camera, so I'm not looking like Martin and when he was sitting on the couch what was his teacher's name? Oh my God, I can't remember his teacher's name that he was in love with.
I know the episode.
And he drank the champagne and he was acting crazy. I was like, I'm not going to be that goofy person that I can be tonight. I'm going to give you all of me and my professionalism and do the best I can to make this a fun night.
Well, you see, I, on the other hand, I wait until we get on and then I taste the drink. Like I tell people, I don't know any of the tips that our experts are about to share because I want to take it in just like everybody else. But this one definitely is a lip smacker.
Oh yeah, this is a lip smacker, which is good because that goes in line with my theme necessarily for tonight. Because in starting the conversation, I was going to tell everybody, I need for you all to know that I'm a fighter. I used to fight a whole lot. I've calmed down. But that's a lot of what I'm going to be talking about. So this drink is smacking us already. So it's setting the night up.
I'm glad you said fighter. So before you jump into your tips, I always like to share with our audience, how do I know our guests? Because everybody's just like, how'd you find these people? How'd you come up with 18 people? So Jennifer, Michelle, and I met.
This is so me. How many years has that been?
4 years ago.
4 years
we
ago.
met 4 years ago. And I had to think for a second because my son was born in 2017. I was 4 months pregnant when we met.
Didn't know it.
Let me tell you, I did all how to camouflage because the belly popped a little early. And so when Jennifer, Michelle, and I met her, it was an all day thing. So I met her earlier in the day when the local radio station down here, Power 98, had their celebrity basketball game. It was homecoming weekend. And she was doing interviews. And I was with another friend of mine, Buddy, who we were liaisons to a team of promoters from Atlanta that was bringing Floyd Mayweather here to Charlotte. And so I was in the midst of all of that. I was the Charlotte Connect because the event was going to be here in Charlotte. And so we saw Jennifer Michelle at that event. I mean, she came in with her blonde wig, and I'll never forget you had on a blue and white pinstripe shirt with the red sneakers.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the pop of color. And so
you got it right.
Right? And so she was supposed to come to, what was the name of the club at the time? It's called what, World Now?
It was Label?
Label.
I think it was Label then.
It's Label, yeah. So at the time it was called Label, and she was supposed to meet us to do interviews. And at that night the game was here in town. And so I came in, we were doing VIP, and as we were coming in, as you all
you gotta love it. Let them do what they do.
We went all of 11 days. Day number 12 is it. So
because it's the party night. Let's get wild.
And so we were getting in, and Jennifer Michelle was at the door with somebody else. She was just like, yo, but she was arguing. She was like, yo, I'm supposed to be in here. And they would not we gave all the names. She was already there. I did it. And sure enough, I turned around. I was just like, oh no, she's with us. And the guy was like, oh, okay. And she was about to fight that dude that night.
Listen.
And you were about to fight the bouncer. And you was just like, I just can't believe this shit. And we went in, we were in VIP, we watched the game, we did the interview, and it was all good. But I just don't know how all the years that's gone by. I can't believe it. But that's how we met.
That's how we met. I love that you remember my outfit. I have to find my wig. I don't know where my blonde wig is anymore, although most of the men in my family hated it, and most of the men in my life were like, no, toss the wig. I kind of had fun. I enjoyed her. It's okay. You're looking like they are screaming. But yes, that's how I have. So interesting. And I guess we'll get started and go into.
You go ahead and tip number 1. I'm going to handle this little nugget. Hold up.
Oh my gosh. So while she's going to handle that nugget, I said I was always a fighter. That's not true. I used to be bullied a lot. And my cousin used to always fight for me. And one day I came in the house in the midst of her watching her stories. And she was like, I'm not fighting for you anymore. You go outside and you hit her like this. And she hit me, showed me how to fight. And she said, if you don't go outside and hit her like this, I am going to beat you up myself. So that's when I learned how to fight. But we called it fading. So my tips tonight are going to be fades, because that's what I typically do. And that's how I got to the point to where I am in my life. We're going to talk about confidence and accepting yourself. And she's back. And now tip number one. Whenever we're dealing with confidence and your purpose or any of those things, the first thing you have to do is fight through the fear. And remember, this is spades. I have a letter and I have something to share for each one of them. So fades, fight through the fear. So I have learned over the years, and even now, that in order to be confident in anything you're doing, business, life, especially in this modeling industry, the first thing I had to do was fight through the fear. I literally had to change my relationship and the perspective I had with fear. Before, fear would shut me down. Fear would do what fear does if we allow it. Fear is like poison. It's like a snake bite.
Crippling.
Listen, it's crippling. I have had panic attacks before in the past. I have literally sat paralyzed because of fear. And it took years for me to realize, before I could do anything in life, before I could achieve any dreams, before I could walk any runways or be on anybody's TV set, I had to fight through the fear. And that meant that I had to, one, process it. Okay, I'm afraid. Why am I afraid? What am I afraid people are going to notice about me? Before I became the confident woman that I am, I used to think, oh, somebody's going to notice the flaw. I was geared to start naming them, but I don't do that anymore, because I've learned that if we name our flaws, people recognize them and they use them against us. So I stopped doing that.
That's a good point.
Yes.
That is
I stopped naming stuff. That's jumping to one of my other points about what we speak, but you have to realize what you're dealing with. And for me, I learned, okay, if I'm afraid, I must really need to do this. Now, I'm not talking about if somebody's asking you to jump off a building with no parachute. That's just stupid. But if there's fear, like for doing this summit, for example, for some people, this would be very hard to do. Even for me, every runway show, every interview, I always get nervous, always get anxious, but I've learned to take those emotions and I fight through them. I basically body them. I'm like, okay, if you're here, that means I need to be over there. I need to be doing this. So that's what we have to do. You have to be able to take that fear, process it, and say, okay, you know what? If I'm scared, I know what's going to happen if I'm scared. I know what's going to happen if I don't do anything. But then I started thinking, what happens if I do it though?
Right.
And that's when my life started changing, because that's when I hopped on a plane and flew to New York in the middle of the night to attend a casting call, because I knew Tyra Banks was going to be there and I wanted to see Tyra. I wanted to be in a show. And those are the things that I started doing. I started asking myself, oh, I'm telling myself, yes, I'm afraid. I feel that fear. It's real. But I don't have to allow it to kill what I want. So fear is like a poison.
It is.
And you have to use that faith. Faith is the antidote. That action, you have to take that action and you have to be like, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway.
I mean, I love that's how you're kicking us off tonight, because it's one of the things that I always stress to people, the importance of taking risk. And if you let fear hold you back, taking a risk, there's always going to be fear. It doesn't matter what kind of business it is. It doesn't matter how successful the business is. There's always, in a project management world, one of these things that we do is risk management. So there's always a fear that something may happen. So the same thing that you would expect from a corporation is the same thing that you should implement and consider within your own business, regardless of where the fear stems from, regardless of what that risk potentially would be. Sometimes you just have to take that risk, fear or no fear, and just do it.
Exactly. And again, you have to look at it. Okay, I know what's going to happen if I don't do anything, if I let fear win. If I let fear win, I'm just going to keep sitting in the house in my yoga pants or my sweatpants with no makeup on and chilling and doing nothing. But if I actually get up and invest and move, then the possibilities are endless. The worst they can tell me is no, and I just come back home and get in my yoga pants. But at least I'm going to take that risk. So that was my point one. You got to fight through the fear. You got to face that fear. You got to body it. Like when fear comes, be like, no, I'm not going to let you win this time. So that moves me to my next point, because with me, I've learned that everything was in stages, was steps. One of my favorite sayings and one of my favorite songs is God is preparing me for everything he has prepared for me.
Hey.
And with every level, girl, because he is, with everything that he's doing with us, it's all about levels and steps and setting the foundation. So recognizing that fear for me set the foundation. And our other point, accept your uniqueness. Now, this one's going to be very interesting. I have so many stories I could share, but I'm not, because I'm a talker. Accepting your uniqueness doesn't happen until you face the fears. Okay, again, accept, first of all, means to consent to receive. It means that you believe or you recognize as valid. So before Jennifer was confident, Jennifer had fears that this long neck, I don't know if y'all can see all of this neck.
Yeah, we can see all of it.
All of it. So this long neck was one of the things growing up that I absolutely hated about myself. Or it was the body size. And people don't believe that slim people deal with body shaming, but we do.
Of course they do. Yeah.
So those were all the things that I had to work through. And in order to accept that, I had to decide, okay, you know what, Jennifer? Again, you can either accept this, or you can be mad and be ashamed, or you can process, why is it that this bothers you? And then I processed it. I was like, okay, it only bothers me because in high school, people used to make fun of me. But now that I see the other side of this, that in some cultures, this long neck is considered a beauty mark. So now, wait. So in accepting your uniqueness, you have to change the perspective of how you see yourself.
Indeed.
We get caught up in the world standard of beauty, and it'll have us all crazy. We don't have to be that way. We have to find our own unique, individual, like, I love my neck. I'm sorry. You see me and my clavicle. My clavicle, I love that too, because that's a beauty mark. But that's how you have to accept that. And in order to do that, again, you have to let go of the fear. You have to move past the fear. You have to be okay with people seeing you. You have to first tell yourself that I am valid, I am good enough, and that I belong here, and everything about me is wonderful. So whenever I go to, and I'll tell you all this about going into my next point, developing a winning mindset. So I already told you I got M&Ms. So this is my first M&M. And in defining and developing a winning mindset, I had to get to the point to where I reminded myself of my wins, whether they were big wins or little wins. And then I had to start changing my perspective on my losses and processing not just fear, but my losses.
Yes.
So growing up, anybody that knows me knows that I am very competitive. I mean, very competitive. Don't play me in spades. Don't play me in basketball. Just don't do it. Like, those are my things. I think I'm going to win every single time. I don't care who you are. Like that night you met me, I thought if I fight this man, I will win. I have a winning mindset. And it's because I got to the point to where the wins started happening when I started showing up. So wins happen when you show up, because it's easy, once again, to stay home. It's easy to not do anything, not take that risk, but your confidence builds because you win, and then you win again. And then even when you lose, you find a way to win. So listen, my dad taught me how to play spades. And when he first told me he was going to teach me, I knew, because I went to HBCU, Aggie Pride. I went to A&T, and spades is part of the Black culture. It's part of the Black experience. And when I came home, my dad said he wanted to, yes, we are. We sisters. I'm sorry. I saw a comment.
That's Nicole.
He said, I'm going to teach you how to play spades. And in my mind, my dad is the best. I've never seen my dad lose. So my goal was, I'm going to beat my dad at spades. I'm going to beat him. And every time I lost, I still felt like, oh, I might have lost to my daddy, but I learned something else. And when I get back to Greensboro, I'm gonna whoop them up. My sweet mates, my girlfriends hated playing cards with me because I was so competitive, but I had that winning mindset. I've always been the underdog. in everything. And I had to tell myself, you know what? I'm going to win. Regardless of what people say, I am going to win. So anytime a negative thought would come, you know, negative thoughts just come out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, like I'm sitting here now and a negative thought could pop up. And no, you got to find a positive thought and jab it. You know what? Take that positive thought and say, you know what? Let me show you. That's the negative part of this. Let me show you the beautiful positive side. And when you start thinking positive, being around positive people, because I'm sure everybody, and I've heard this probably every night, that you have to surround yourself with the right people. That means positive people. That means people who understand what it means to protect your peace, because that's all part of your mindset. If your mind is full of all this foolishness, then you're just going to be out of whack. You're not going to be able to accomplish anything.
And I just want to say, you know, one of the things about, yes, you are right, because I know I've said it a few times during this summit. I know other people have said it, the importance of the energy that you keep around you, the importance of the people that you keep around you that will continue to uplift you, that will continue to make sure that they have your best interest at heart. And that also means sometimes when it comes time to cut, you may have to cut that friend that you've had for forever years. That may mean that you may have to cut some family that you knew. Listen, it's happened to me several times throughout my journey. And each time it was harder, but each time it got easier. Because when you make the first or the second or the third cut, at some point you're going to have, as they say, that aha moment, like, wait, so my life is a lot better. It's a lot more, you know, you'll notice the difference at some point when you welcome the peace, when you welcome that change. It makes it easier because now you realize the importance of the energy. And sometimes that means you have to be alone. And that means that you have to be okay with the peace that you have with the man upstairs. You know, we all faith-based in here, if you're not sorry. But the peace
they will be by the time we're done.
You have to find between yourself and God. Because at the end of the day, that's all you'll always have to rely on. But I have to say, in the last 2 years of my journey is when, you know, I made a change, right? After I had my son, I was just like, I can't do this. I am not doing this anymore of keeping negative people, negative influences in my life. This is ridiculous. Right. And it was until I stopped being afraid of being alone, afraid of being single, because I'd been single for so many years, still am, but it is what it is. And, you know, of being afraid of being successful. People are being afraid of being successful, being afraid of making money, being afraid of continuing to take risks, because I've always taken risks. And I'm like, God, is this really paying off? But in 2 years of knowing that I had to go through my experiences and I had to step aside and put fear on the sidewalk and leave it right there and say bye-bye. Fear of all aspects of your life. Like, people, I don't want people to think that we're only talking about, you know, fear as it applies to your business. It's fear of all aspects of your life will always affect who you are as an entrepreneur. And when you make that change, everything changes.
Everything changes. And here's the thing. So fear of being successful is something that is not talked about enough, because we're used to failing. We're used to lack. We're used to brokenness. But we have the opportunity to be successful, to be healed, to be loved, to prosper. Those things, we fear them because, again, it's the unknown. But it's we have to change our mindsets and say, you know what? I was over here, but I don't want to be over here anymore. And when you embrace, which takes us to embracing our purpose. Look at you tying it all in. Come on now.
And I didn't know it.
You did know it, but look, that's how it works out over here, because we are professionals and we prepare. And the message really is we have to embrace your purpose. So for me, I would have never thought in a million years. First of all, I knew I wanted to model, but I never thought I was good enough or pretty enough. And then when I finally realized, you know what, I can model, I would have never thought that I would have found my purpose and my ministry within fashion, within modeling. And that's what you have to do. You have to think about, what is it that I love doing with a smile on my face, with 50 people yelling in my ear, I still can manage it. I still can walk away and say, I would do it all again tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And that's how you find your purpose. And because our purpose is bigger than us. Our purpose is about connecting others, healing others, helping others, inspiring others. That's how we realize what our purpose is. But to embrace it, to hold it close. So that, to me,
Huge.
is huge. And there are parts of our purpose that we have to embrace, and we keep it to ourselves. Because there comes a time God will tell us he wants us to do something, or we'll hear it in our spirit for those who don't use God, but it's our spirit or the universe speaks. And you know, without a shadow of a doubt, ooh, this is my purpose. Like you meet somebody and you hear in your soul and in your spirit, God says, do something. Okay. God wants you to embrace that. Embrace it. Hold it close to you. Don't tell nobody. Because sometimes when we share what our purpose is with others, people think that we're asking them to give us some of their negative feedback. That's not what I want. So again, you have to get to the point to where you're like, okay, I embrace my purpose. I embrace, because all of us are different. All of us serve a different purpose. I love y'all. And that's how, for me, as a minister, I knew when I accepted the calling and I decided to go to ministry school that I was going to be different. I was in the class and I told the person teaching the class, I told my pastor, I told everybody, I was like, I'm taking this class, but I'm telling you right now, I know I'm not destined to be behind the pulpit. I know my purpose. I know how I'm going to reach people. I knew that God was going to have me out in the streets or at my job or wherever I was ministering to people. Because a lot of people don't go to church. There are a lot of hurting people, a lot of people that are walking around that need healing. And they will probably never step foot in the church. And I knew, I was like, okay, my purpose. When I started modeling and I started coaching and started my professional development, yes, I want them to learn business, but guess what? First of all, I got to get you to understand that your purpose is bigger than all of that, that you are destined for greatness. My purpose is to help women who grew up like I did, feeling self-conscious or insecure.
Absolutely.
We have to speak and sow those seeds. So that's how you embrace your purpose.
Like Keisha from Cali in our chat saying, God is using me. Yes, he is, girl. He is using each and every one of us for our divine purpose.
And all of us have a divine purpose. And that when we embrace that and realize that our purpose is not the same as everybody else's, but we're still connected somehow, God puts it to where you make the connections and you end up with 18 different speakers for a summit. So the last one, number 5, we're going to speak life. Speak life over your situation. Now, when I talked to you, when I was telling you what I was going to talk about, I was like, I got M&Ms, girl. And you was like, what are you talking about? And I had gotten to a point to where I was so depressed and devastated dealing with life. Life comes at you and it hurts you and it just knocks you down. And even me, the fighter, was like, you know what? I don't even want to fight no more. And God was like, Jennifer, guess what? You'll be all right if you get your M&Ms. And I'm going to tell y'all what my M&Ms are. Get your M&Ms right. Get your mind and your mouth right.
Hey,
listen, we will find success as soon as we get our minds and our mouths on the same page. You can't think or speak negative and think that you're going to have something positive. You're not going to get success if you think, oh my God, I'm not going to get a client today. And if you walk around the house in the middle of the day drinking your red rose, listen, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get you walking around the house with your red rose. You better be thinking, my client is looking for me right now. My client is about to contact me right now. You have to speak life over speak life over your business, over your family, everything.
Over your heart.
You have to speak life over your heart. And now I realize, because growing up, I was that person. I was like, they said if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I thought that was about me being shady and petty. But really, because sometimes I can be, You know, you got to have your friends that you can be petty with, right? Because
Yes.
we need petty moments in our life to where we can say, but it was more about speaking life, like saying something nice. It's about, I thank God for you and your increase that's coming because of this summit and how you
Yes.
sacrificed and put yourself out there. You took that risk and you did it. So that's what speaking life is about. And that's how you connect the two. I have been to the point to where I could hear something in my mind and it was a positive thought, and I would be sitting there scared to say it. And I was like, what is hindering me? And then you think about, well, if I'm scared to say it now, then I'm probably scared to even receive it.
There you go.
So we have to get to the point to where we can not just think positive, but speak positive. So those are my 5 things, and I see it's 8:02.
So girl, it's okay. A few minutes won't hurt nobody.
Okay.
It's so true. I mean, I feel like, again, every night, even though, you know, the common thread is there with every speaker, and everybody doesn't know everybody, but it always, each message that has been received every evening, I feel like it just ties into what the person before previously just said. It just is so magical. And what you brought to the table tonight was so needed. I think we could not have ended this week off any better, because it's so true. It's all about the M&Ms, your mind and your mouth.
Your mind and your mouth.
That come with it, with the fear and embracing your purpose and all of these things. Because for me, myself, listen, I have crippled my own progress time and time again because of self-doubt. Self-doubt has been my kryptonite for years, and people will never believe me when I tell them that. I'm like, yes, it is my kryptonite. But it's just, I had to reach a point where, you know, I expressed through the summit that there was a point in 2018 when anxiety and panic attacks took over my life because of a toxic work environment, and put me flat out on my ass, literally. And I was on the verge of losing everything. And it's taken me 2 years to build back, just to be at an okay space. 2 years, which is
and
this
listen,
year.
you preaching to the choir.
But when I made the decision about changing my mindset and embracing and owning what I knew I deserved, and understanding that God would not have put me through these things, and I would have not gone through this journey if it was not meant to be. And I'll tell you this, I did not realize it until last night in talking to my mother, that she was asking about the summit, and she said to me, how did you come up with all these people? She's like, I don't remember you. She's like, I remember certain names because she was here at a certain point. But when I looked at it, it's within the last 2 years is when I met most of this panel. In the last 2 years. So when you think you are in the lowest of lows, it is really true. You never know what God is setting you up for, because through my lowest low and battling my own fears of everything during these past 2 years, in the end, sitting here now, I realized, man, God truly blessed me.
He was preparing you.
When you let fear rule, you cannot see. You have to let faith rule. And when you let faith rule and take over,
that's exactly what happens. So I'm going to leave with these 2 bonus points, because we got to be going through these internet streets real quick. And you made me think about one of them, which, hey, my baby in Atlanta. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, everybody. My cousin in Maryland. Hey, everybody. Sorry. You said something, self-doubt is something that we all deal with. And I had to get over self-doubt by seeking excellence instead of perfection. I deliver excellence instead of perfection. I stopped trying to be perfect. I stopped trying to think about what is it that people would expect from me. And instead of seeking perfection, I started seeking excellence. I will deliver excellent work. I will show up and be excellent. Any of my clients that come to me for modeling, coaching, confidence training, they always talk about, and I hate the saying, now that I'm an older lady, there are certain things that I'm just like, no, that doesn't sound right. That's not right. Practice does not make perfect. No. Ladies and gentlemen, practice only prepares you to deliver excellence. That's all it does. If you practice, listen, that's all practice is for. The purpose of practice it's so you can deliver excellence. That's what we're looking for. And once I started looking at it that way, I was like, we are not perfect. God did not create us perfect. He created us in his image, but we're not perfect.
Indeed.
And to have that type of pressure on us, it just creates that self-doubt, and it makes us feel once again that we're not worthy and all these other things. No, you can practice and you can do something wrong the whole time.
Right.
It doesn't make you perfect. You perfectly did that wrong. That's all you did. So that's what I'm going to end with. I thank you again for having me. Thank you to everybody for watching, and hope to see you soon, and continue to listen. You put yourself out there. Greatness has always been upon you, because you walked up and handled the VIP situation like a boss. Like, she with us. And I was like, yes, I am. Let's go. What's your name? So thank you so much. Again, for seeing value in me and in my story and what I have to offer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll talk soon, girl.
All right. Bye.